Hello, everyone. I hope this reading finds you well. I hope that everyone is safe. Hope you are satisfied. Hope you are content. I hope you are not facing difficulties. Hope you're overcoming your challenges. Hope you're making money. Hope you're leveling up. I added some new cards to my deck, so it's a little bit bigger to shuffle. But I think it has a lot more information. So I did take the animals out, but I put the animal deck is huge now. I finished that today. But the spiritual deck, which is the one I'm going to read from right now, has a lot more lingo in it, if you will. This card's come out like a million times in my shuffle, so that's who this reading is about. So I was looking to find what this reading is about. What's the focus, person, place, or thing. A physical animal came out. So I guess we're getting into the animal deck already. So, just to start, the pomegranates are symbolistic to me. So this would be someone who, I don't know, that gives me Mediterranean vibes. I mean, I love pomegranates and pomegranate juice, but let's be honest, how often do you really see those in the grocery store? You know what I mean? I'm not in a winterous place, you know, so... also, I believe it is Persephone, who is related to pomegranate. So we got the blue jay, the whale, and the mallard duck, which is what I call that duck there. So he asks who this reading was for. Let's see if any other animals come out. And the shark. One more. We like fives. And a cat. So one of the decks has, thank you, Spirit. This is actually a coon cat, so I would call that a Maine Coon. So if any of these animals resonates with you or you see them, I mean, hopefully if you see a shark, it's safe, but, you know, some people like to swim with sharks. Or they can be friendlier sharks, you know, there's like nurse sharks and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to say any shark's friendly, but, you know, to each their own. Or if you see those mallard ducks with the green heads, or if you have a Maine Coon cat, or you see a Maine Coon cat, they have the long face, those Maine Coons, and sometimes they're big, sometimes they're not that big, but they kind of have like longer fur. Not quite like a Himalayan, but not as thick, but probably just as long, put it like that. Or whales, like if you live somewhere where whale watching is possible, like Alaska, or I know Canada on the west coast, they have whale watching. I'm guessing in probably Australia or even New Zealand, they have some stuff like that. So some people have spirit guides, or I'll say some people are in touch with their spirit guides. And if you resonate with Persephone in any way, and I hope I'm getting that right, but she's the one that I think of when I see the pomegranates. And I think Persephone was the one who, there's a story about, like, I think it's her and Hades. I don't know the story, so forgive me if I'm like one off here with this one, but if anyone does know the story, feel free to comment it below. But Persephone, I think, was the one who went into the underworld, and she was in darkness so that, you know, that things could be fruitful or spring could be sprung. Abduction by Hades, the god of the other underworld, and then she subsequently marries him. Oh no, Demeter's the goddess of agriculture. Demeter's grief in the seasons. Demeter's despair at Persephone's abduction caused the earth to become barren, resulting in the end of crops in winter. Demeter's grief eventually led Zeus to intervene, and he agreed that Persephone could return to her mother for part of the year. Persephone's fate in the pomegranate. Persephone had eaten pomegranate seeds in the underworld, which meant she could only return for 6 months of the year. During her time in the underworld with Hades, she became queen of the dead. During her time above ground with Demeter, the earth thrived with life, representing spring and summer. So she's also seen in some aspects as the goddess of vegetation, with her return symbolizing renewal and rebirth. Her symbols include the pomegranate, seeds of grain, flowers, and the deer. And the myth of Persephone and Hades has been interpreted in various ways, including as a story about motherhood and the passage of women through rites of passage. So, yeah, I always think of her with that. So, this card came out. It says voodoo on one side and hoodoo on the other. But it came out directly in the middle. So this is someone who, I guess, excuse me, relates to both of these. So I'm going to leave this in that direction. You know, you've heard of voodoo dolls before. As far as I know, they're similar, but I don't know that much about them. I just know that these things exist. I don't necessarily subscribe to them or participate in them, so whoever this is for will have a connection to Persephone, or some of the things I just told you about Persephone will feel relatable to you. We have this one. So this is like a protector to me, this little face. We have a bound heart chakra because of the hoodoo and the voodoo. The hand of Mary is interceding. This hoodoo or voodoo happened during a waning crescent moon with crystals. And the Ankh came out upside down. Now, for people who don't know, it's supposed to be like this. But for people that don't know, the Ankh relates to immortality. It's also called the breath of life. It's an Egyptian hieroglyph, and it's related to regeneration of life through water. So if it came upside down and we also got the hand of Mary, then this would be a feminine being attacked. And also because it came upside down, the Ankh is also called in some circles as a the Ankh is also called circuit. So if it's upside down, that means the circuit's not closed, it's open. So that means it's not a complete circuit if it's open, which I know that seems opposite, but it is what it is. So basically your body can make a circuit, and the problem is that if your circuit's not complete, things that people do energetically become either impossible or very much harder, like they expend more energy. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick the camera. So, also being protected by an ancestor and Archangel Azrael. And Archangel Azrael is 10th dimensional, angel of birth and death, angel of transition, guides through transitions. So, yes, Kitty, we hear you. What else do you want to tell us? So not only the heart, but also the brain. So this would be like thinking, mental states, also being attacked, including the circuit not being complete. And let's see what else we can get. Not only ancestors, but this is like a protector deity over here underneath Persephone. And that's protecting this person who's being affected. Also, stomach is being affected. Sorry, this goes like this. Stomach, or like what, you know, where the stomach is, you have solar plexus, and then down is navel. And then you have your base or your root, and sacral chakra. So all of those could be being affected, but there's a lot of protection. Also the heart, which we're doubling up there, so that's another one. Your ancestors are protecting you. The hand of Mary is protecting you. Physical came out, so your physical body, your brain, physically being attacked. Yes, kitty. I don't know if you can hear the kitty, but I'm taking those as confirmation. What are you telling me? What's wrong? You just need attention. I'm here. Okay, spirit animals are protecting you, like kitty cats. The cross is also protecting you. Okay. Let's get these spirit animals that are protecting you. A snake, so that could be Kundalini rising also, although I do have a card for that. The fox, which some people, I think the fox is like sneaky or something. Depends on how you look at it, but sometimes if you're, you know, if you're fighting a snake, sometimes you gotta be a sneak, you know? Or if you're dealing with someone who's, you know, a narcissist. I'm not saying be a narcissist, but can't give them your everything, you know what I mean? So, interesting spirit animals. So the snake, the fox, we get the koala, and the penguin. Fun fact about penguins, they usually mate for life. So when they find their soulmate, they stay with their soulmate. They don't usually mate again. Like if they were to lose one, like if one were to, you know, pass away or whatever happens in the penguin world, that penguin would just be a single penguin. So other spirit animals, we got the crab, which I don't know if you know, but there's no love like a crab's love. You know, they have that hard shell, but they're soft on the inside. So once they let you in, then they protect you. You know, they walk, they sidle. It's called sidling. So they walk like sideways. And they have those pinchers. So some crabs have one big pincher and one little one. But regardless, once they grab onto something, they're coming with you. They're not letting go. So if they're holding on to something good, that's good. But if they're protecting someone they love from something bad and they grab onto the bad thing, just know you're getting pinched, all right? You know what they say, mess with the bull, you get the horns. If you mess with the claws, you're getting clipped, you know? And then we got the pigeon also, which, you know, pigeons move in flocks. They're also usually not identifiable one from the other. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people use pigeons as carrier pigeons. I don't know if that's like a thing anymore, but I remember when I was younger, I used to read books, like fantasy type books and like sci-fi books. And in those stories, it's like in the olden days, and like there's no, you know, USPS, somebody would send mail by carrier pigeon. So, you know, it's something about that information is relevant here in protection. So if you have a possible soulmate protecting you, maybe like something is causing you to blend in, or whatever's protecting you is blending in like a pigeon amongst a flock. So the fox, even though it's like laying down, foxes are very stealthy. You know, a big fox or a little fox could walk up behind you, whether it was night or day, and they could do so without you hearing. You know, that's a distinct possibility. And then the snake, obviously, if you've ever seen a snake protecting their young, the position that the snake is in, you know, that section right there is like where their little, I believe they lay eggs. That's where well, some of them maybe do live. I don't know. I don't know everything about all the animals, but, you know, a snake would protect its young or protect itself and its territory. We talked about the crab. The koala, to me, is giving slow and steady wins the race, like the turtle. But, you know, instead, it's also maybe like a little bit of camouflage. I don't know, koalas are so funny. You should look them up. Just their behaviors and the things that they do are hilarious. Like, definition of sloth, you know? Alright, so we have those animals. Let's see if we can get some angel numbers. Oh, you know what? We didn't really get... Well, we're getting that we're protected in here, but we didn't really get solutions to not being attacked at the heart and the brain and the mind and the stomach. Okay. Alrighty. So, first one I got was 4, then I got 717, and then I got 2, and then 333, but then there's actually another 3. So this could also be angel number 423. It could also just be angel number 23. And it could be angel number 3333, which is 4 threes. So those are all probabilities. And then let's see what we have in the way of letters. Okay, we have U and P, so up. Could be someone's name or part of someone's name. Could be PU instead of up. It could be a PU, like something stinks, who knows? Maybe the person who does voodoo stinks really bad. Like that's something that people just know about them, because they're stinky. Oh, here goes a C. And a Y. So this could also be cup, or it could be, I guess, cuppy, or it could be yup, like yes. Take it how it resonates. So these could be somebody's initials, UP and CY, or it could be PU, CY. Got options there. Let's see if we can get a time frame. Spirit, give us a time frame for when this waning crescent crystal voodoo hoodoo bound the heart chakra and the physical aspects of the body, thereby cutting the circuit. What can you tell us about when that happened? Was it weeks? Was it months? Was it days? Is it coming? Did it pass? Is it happening right now? Is it waning crescent? Okay, we're getting May. Okay, apparently it happened for months in the 2010s. So that means 2010 to 2019. So that makes me think it was repeated. And then I also just got 1950s. So that's 1950 to 1959. Maybe this person is born in the 1950s. Can you give us one more inkling of time here? What about the months? Was it starting in May? And then it went on for months in 2010? Okay, we got 1990s. So I'm thinking it started May 1990s. And it happened monthly because each phase of the moon is about 29 days, they say, and each month is obviously like 30, 31 days. And the waning crescent would happen every month or so. So this person who was born in the 1950s started in the 1990s doing this to someone in May of the 1990s. So that's 1990 to 1999 sometime. And some monthly feature with crystals and hoodoo and binding heart chakras and physical bodies and cutting circuits so people aren't whole. Basically, that's what happens when you're fragmented or your circuit doesn't connect. You're not as strong and you're not connected to spirit. And it's just the truth. Like, you can still have intuition and you can still want to connect to spirit, but you have to clear the things that are blocking you. And if it was happening to someone from 1990 to 2010, 1990, 2000, 2010, that's like 30 years. If it went on for months starting in May of 1990. That is so long. Can you imagine? That's like somebody's whole life right there. What did somebody like start when they were born? This hoodoo person was doing moon rituals on someone since they were born, starting in May of 1990, using crystals and binding their heart chakra and purposely trying to cut their circuit, their ankh. That's wild to think about. And I just got present came out of the deck, like presently. So that makes me think it's still happening. I also got 1930s, 1940s, so 30s, 40s, and 50s. So perhaps there were a person from each decade. Someone was born in the 1930s, and then someone was born in the 1940s and was doing that. Then somebody was born in the 1950s, and they all related to Persephone here, or these, the underworld, or the queen of the underworld, or I'm getting witch vibes, you know. So this message is about a hoodoo person, someone who practices hoodoo or voodoo. Maybe not a hoodoo person, like they may not be someone you typically expect to be born into that. But they were binding somebody's heart chakra from the 1990s, as well as their physical body, their stomach, their heart, and their brain or their mental body. Physically their brain, they were trying to injure their brain. For monthly cycles of the waning crescent, and then crystals is underneath here too. From May 1990s, every month until the 2010s, so at least until 2020. Something changed then, and they either couldn't anymore, or it wasn't effective, or, you know, honestly, if you do stuff like that to try to like harm other people, it kind of like you start attracting more negativity to yourself, which, you know, it sounds like someone who's the queen of the dead probably has a lot of darkness around them. These people from the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, they may not have been, you know, originally like that, and they were bringing in more of this negativity as they are harming someone else, you know. That's just kind of how it happens. It's like when people say, you know, when you get into a fight with someone and you stay mad at them, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to be harmed by your drinking the poison, you know. You're the one who's affected by the negativity, you know, by harboring the ill intent, the ill will, whatever it is. So it's really in your best interest to, you know, kind of try to figure out a way around it, you know, because like I said, in 1990 to 2010, I mean, that could easily be 30 years. That's 3 decades of harming one person the same way over and over again with magic. You know, it's pretty much a full-time job. Like, whoever this person is, you know, that's between, I'm going to say 20 and 40 years old, that's being harmed by these older folk from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. You know, this younger person lives rent-free in the minds of those people from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And why? For what? You know, that's, to me, it's crazy. I actually don't even want to keep reading this because I'm like, why would somebody spend, like, what could that, let's just say that person was a baby. This person, the 90s person who's being attacked. What could a baby have possibly done to somebody to make somebody respond for years, every month? Like I said, like it's their full-time job trying to harm them. You know, make that make sense. And Azrael, as just a final, before we close out here, Azrael is the angel of birth and death. So with ancestors here and birth and death, if someone was trying to physically harm somebody with their stomach, their heart, and their brain, those are 3 different systems in someone's body. I mean, you can cause, if someone were to attack, like not with magic, but just like, let's just pretend hypothetically someone was attacking someone's body systems, then yeah, it would be a big problem because like that person would have to fight very hard to live. So I'm thinking that Archangel Azrael stepping in is kind of like God's way of saying, like, you know, you've done too much to this person. It's not, there's no karmic payback, you know, like these people from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, like there's no getting karma for that. The karma is like, you know, an eye for an eye, unfortunately, I think after 30 years of harm like that. I mean, that's how I'm reading this, but, you know, if somebody else has a different opinion, feel free to share. I'm interested to know what other people think about it. But I kind of got this feeling when I started pulling the cards, you know, I already knew that when I saw the hoodoo and the voodoo, I just knew there was like something going on, you know, something pretty big. And I made all these new cards. These are new. This is new. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the reading. Leave your opinions below if anyone watched the video and they got a different reading from the reading. Love to hear about it. The YouTube channel here is The One Lala. That's T-H-E, 1 spelled out, O-N-E. Lala is L-A-L-A. I don't have Cash App. I don't reach out to people. I don't ask them for money on this channel. I don't even have personal readings set up online. I don't have TikTok, and I don't have Instagram by this name, so the only place that The One Lala and these readings should exist is YouTube. If you see them anywhere else, please leave me a comment. Let me know about that too. Thank you so much.